Welcome back to the Morristown Market Report. I'm Amy Schrader with RE/MAX Real Estate 10.
And I'm Kim Swan with Union Home Mortgage.
Our special guest today is Denise Hurt. She is the owner-operator of Uptown Hounds. How are you doing, Denise?
I'm good.
Well, good. We're glad to have you. So tell us a little bit about your business, like what types of dogs do you normally groom?
We do all types of dogs. Some of the smallest are 4 pounds. We had a 140-pound Tibetan Mastiff 2 days ago. So we do them all. Groom them, bathe them, clip their nails, anything that involves grooming, we do it all.
Okay. Are dogs the only thing you do?
No, we do cats as well.
Okay.
Not a lot of them, but we do a few cats.
Yes, but
Pigs.
pets.
I have bathed the pig. We cut bunny nails, guinea pig nails, you name it, we've had it.
I've got a 3-year-old that I can't get to hold still for some nail cut. Could you do that?
I cannot do a kid.
So how do you handle like big dogs, aggressive dogs, dogs that are anxious to be there?
We have the equipment to handle them. Of course, with big dogs, we have things where it helps hold them up. Small dogs and big dogs, if it takes 2 people, we'll have one person calming them, talking them through it, holding them, whatever. If they're a little more anxious and crazy, we'll, hold them. We're trained to hold the dogs, properly. So, but usually it takes 2 people for those kind of dogs.
Gotcha. All right. Well, that was one of the questions, is what kind of training or certifications do you have, or did you have to get in order to start dog grooming?
Currently, there are no state regulations or national regulations for groomers. I was trained by another groomer, and most of them there are some schools that you can go to, but everybody that works for me, we go to seminars. We are constantly educating ourselves. We do online education. Some groomers, it's just like a hairdresser. You go to hairdresser school, 20 years down the road. If you haven't done any new training, you're doing the same thing you did. But we really like to update ourselves. Everything's constantly changing, so we're constantly educating and continuing everything. So lots of training that you can go to, but there's no state regulations, which we're hoping that's going to change in the future. They're working on it.
Yeah, that kind of blows my mind, as particular as people are
Yes,
about their
dogs.
pets and dogs.
Yeah. Sometimes more so than their kids.
Oh yeah, they will pay like premium for the best dog food in the world, and then take their kid to McDonald's and feed them chicken nuggets.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, we also do retail. We sell some dog foods, and even if we don't have that, when people come in, we try to educate them on skin and what they're feeding their dog. We try to educate on everything.
Okay. So what kind of services do you offer, and what kind of price range are we talking? So if somebody wanted a spa day for their dog at the Uptown Hounds.
Depends on the size. Smalls are usually around $45. That's for the full spa day. That includes the nails, anal glands, haircuts, baths. A large dog, like the one we did the other day, was just a bath, de-shedding, and nails, and he was $130 because he had some matting. So it just depends really on what all we do. The grooming, we kind of have set prices as far as haircuts and baths, but if you're spending extra time on de-matting, if you have to do a pre-shave, all that adds up. So there's different add-ons.
Gotcha. Okay. So how long have you actually been doing this? I know it's been a while now.
April will be the 10-year anniversary of our business.
All right. Are we having a big party?
Well, we're doing some renovations, remodeling, and hopefully like a rebranding and reopening, so yeah.
Good deal. Awesome. Good deal. So how do you ensure the safety and comfort of the dogs that are there?
Again, we're all trained to do that. When we're doing boarding, I didn't mention, we do boarding and daycare as well. So we have so many dogs you've got a person per 10 dogs or whatever. Daycare, we don't have a ton of dogs. We shift them in and out. So you've got so many people with each dog. So that ensures their safety. As far as the grooming, there's just different things that we do. Make sure you don't leave the table with the dog, there's a list. But again, with our training, we know all the safety protocols.
Okay. I know I have been to Denise's store, and it's a little overwhelming when you first walk through the door.
You don't like dogs?
I I like dogs. They're just not my preference. I would like dogs better if they didn't jump on me.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's a little overwhelming when you first walk in and all the dogs are barking, and then there'll be like some huge dog who just like sits up and comes running at you when you walk through that door. It's a little intimidating.
Yeah, and those dogs are, we test the dogs to see if they can be out. You know, we don't let any dogs, if a dog comes in for daycare and they're not a good fit for the other dogs, they will get their own separate daycare time. And if they're boarding there, they get their own separate time so that they're not with the other dogs. So that safety is first. So.
Good deal.
Yeah.
You haven't lost any?
No. No.
She's like,
no. And we only, I mean, you know, we've had people who have worked for us a couple weeks and it just wasn't a good fit, because you know when somebody comes in, if after a couple of days, if they're going to be a good fit for the dogs, you have to be constantly aware of what's going on, you know, with the energy of the dogs and everybody that works with us. We have one person who is in vet school, and of course Sydney, my daughter, was going to vet school, who is now going to nurse practitioner school. And then we have another girl who is a vet tech. So everybody who works with us has worked with animals for a long time. So, or grown up with animals and, you know, kind of trained, you know, their own. So.
Good deal. I know that you have absolutely loved doing this.
Yeah.
You know, I remember back when y'all opened, and it's just been a passion for you.
Yes.
And one of the things people may not know is that Denise does help with rescues as well.
Yes.
And you have all kinds of pets at your house.
Yes, I do. I have 9 dogs, 2 pigs, 6 chickens, and a cat.
Hey, you're my neighbor. I need to hook up with some eggs.
Yes. You did. They just started laying again.
Good deal. I'll be coming.
Yeah.
I'll be coming around
Yep.
getting some eggs. All right, so our last question is one that we're trying to ask all of our guests that come on here, and that is, if you could give your 20-year-old self one piece of advice, what do you think that would be?
I think that if I had started of course I wanted to be a vet and got sidetracked having kids, and there's, I mean, nothing more rewarding than being a mom. But I think that if I had had the courage and believed in myself a little more at 20 years old, you know, I even see that in my own, you know, some of my own children. I'm like, you don't even know, you know, what's in you, you know, at this point at 20 years old. If I had believed in myself at 20 and knowing what I, you know, accomplished, I could have had this business could have been 25 years old. I just didn't have the courage or the confidence at that age. So I think just believing in yourself a little more.
And I totally get that, because, I mean, I remember back, you know, when you're 18, 19, 20 years old, you're in college or whatever, and I mean, I don't know. Sometimes I look back and I feel like I'm a totally different person now.
Of course.
Than I was then. And you've known me that long.
Yes,
so,
I have.
You know, people say, I never would have thought you would, you know, become a realtor. People that knew me when I was a teenager or in college. And I'm like, I never thought I'd be a realtor either. But, you know,
here you are. Yep.
Things happen, changes your life. So, all right. So, if you need to leave for anything, you're welcome to go. We appreciate you coming on. Kim and I are going to kind of give a little market recap of where we're at.
Okay.
If you want to hear it, you're welcome to stay. Whatever you need to do.
I'm going to duck out.
All
I
right.
got to check on the dogs.
Okay. Sounds good. Thanks,
Thank
Denise.
you, Denise.
All right, Kim. So what can you tell us about mortgage rates?
Well, it actually came down the last couple of days.
Good
So
deal.
I actually quoted like a 5.6 on a 30-year. So the Fed's meeting today, so we'll see how that, I think it's today or tomorrow, I'm pretty sure it's today, how that affects what the market does, what the market rates do.
So what I've heard is that they are predicting that the Fed is going to increase the rate again, but it's only going to be a quarter point. Is that what you're hearing?
That's what we're hearing, yeah.
So,
And we always say, you know, each week that, you know, the Fed rates are not a direct correlation to mortgage rates. However, it's not this time with them raising it has not turned out like it normally has in the past. So.
Well, and the funny thing to me is like every time they've raised it, like everybody's predicted ahead of time that they were going to raise it and exactly how much they were going to raise it. So the whole volatility that we've seen really doesn't make sense to me, but I'm not the economist, so obviously.
Not either. That respect, but yeah.
All right, so I do want to ask you a question, and you and I have talked about this for a couple of clients of mine. One of the things that a lot of people are trying to take advantage of to help lower their rate right now is a 2-1 buy down.
Mm-hmm.
So what exactly is a 2-1 buy down? How does that work? Who pays for that?
Sure, definitely. And that's something that my company offers. And like I said, basically with the 2-1 buy down, the first year, the rate is 2% lower than what your note rate is. So like we just mentioned that, if we quoted a rate today at 5.625, the first year that borrower's payment would be based on a rate of 3.625. And then the second year is the 2-1, so in the second year it's a 1% down. So the second year they would get 4.625, and then in year 3 it would go back to that 5.625. Now, we all hope and dream that maybe by that third year, rates may be back down in the 3% range again and give you the opportunity to refinance. And then you can keep that lower rate for the remaining of that 30-year term. It is a fee that the seller has to pay.
Okay.
And it's actually based on loan amount and things like that. So we have a calculator that we can tell you, So, and this is something you can answer for me, but, we're hearing from the mortgage side, that some homes are not selling and sellers are having to reduce their prices. So instead of reducing the price, this is something they could offer for the buyer. So actually the buyer would come out better, have lower payments, lower interest than actually them reducing the price. So it's a great option.
Well, and that's something I have talked to some of my sellers about. That's why we've had the conversations that we've had. But, I totally agree, because to me, you have to qualify at that 5.625 rate.
Yes.
So it's not like an adjustable rate mortgage where you're qualified at a lower rate. You're qualified at the higher rate, but you're getting the benefit of that lower rate for the first year. Mm-hmm. Now, I do have a question. If mortgage rates were to drop during that first 2 years, are they penalized if they wanted to refinance?
Absolutely not. And the money that the seller pays to get that 2-1 buy down for the buyer is put in an account. And so let's say that we did that for you, and then after the first year rates drop down to 3%, you can refinance, and the money that's set aside to continue to buy that rate down for you can actually be deducted from your loan payoff. So you wouldn't lose that money. So yeah, it's a win-win.
Good deal. Good deal. And yes, we are seeing more price reductions in the market. I'm going to be honest. I think a lot of that is because sellers are still trying to price their home like they did last January, February, and March of 2022. And that was kind of, before the rates went up the way they did. So if a realtor is not realistic with the seller and cannot help them to see the difference in the market today versus the market a year ago, that's when you see the price reductions. That's when you see, houses sitting on the market a little bit longer than they used to. Of course, right now, we just came through the holidays. January is typically a lull month anyway. But I'm on several realtor groups on Facebook, and multiple offers are coming back in a lot of places across the country right now. Markets that had just kind of they went from full speed ahead to stuck in first. They are getting a lot more buyer activity, multiple offer situations coming in on several listings. So the lower rates are definitely getting buyers back out in the market. Now, does that mean you're still going to get those pie in the sky prices? I don't think so. I think the buyers really got tired of that. And with a higher interest rate anyway, they just can't afford, to come in and go $50,000 over list price or anything. Not that we really saw a lot of that here, but,
Yeah, we had a meeting today. We've actually got something that hopefully I can be able to talk about next week. That's even another option with helping get lower interest rates as well. So more to come on that.
Good deal. All right, so it is February 1st, so I'm going to recap the January market. Now, here's the thing. We had a lot of closings that probably happened yesterday, and not everybody has updated those sales on the MLS yet. So these numbers could change. I will update you again next week. But as of right now, there were 39 homes that sold in January. The average sales price was $225,395, which is a little bit lower than what we've been seeing. And the average time on the market was 63 days. Now, the 63 days means from the time that agent listed it on the MLS until it actually got to the closing table. So we're seeing about 2 months, which, is pretty common if people are financing, especially if they're using a government loan. So to compare that to 2022, we had 66 homes that closed in 2022. Now again, don't think that the market has crashed because we only saw 39 home sales. I don't think everybody's updated their pendings yet, so we'll see if that changes. But last year, the average sold price was $255,000, and the average time on the market was about 54 days. So right now we have 137 active listings in Hamlin County without the new construction homes, so the D.R. Horton or the Carlisle construction. Without those new builds, we only have 64 active homes, okay? And we still have 68 in pending status, so some of those pendings may get knocked over into the sold category here, but I did want to make note that right now there's 7 homes in Hamlin County that are priced $150,000 or below. So that's something we have not seen a whole lot of lately. Some of these homes are priced below $100,000. 2 of them are. And those homes are probably going to be total rehabs. I know one of them is because I actually had a buyer that went and looked at it on Monday. And it's going to be a complete gut job. But, if you've been thinking about getting into the real estate side of things to try and build your wealth, start real estate investing, these are the homes that you want to look at. And, you need to get with a good realtor who is able to help you see, this is what I would need to do to this house to maximize what I can turn around and get for it. So sometimes you can buy the best house in the neighborhood, and it may not, work out as well for you as buying the worst house in the neighborhood and bringing it up to the value of all the rest of them. So, but I did pull on the 64 active listings that we have in Hamlin County. The average list price is $335,145. Okay, so when you have an average sold price of $225,000, that's a big gap. Now the median sales price is $289,450. So average, we all know what an average is. It's where you take them all, average them out. But when you look at, okay, this is kind of the range of the prices, and this is about the median price. So that tells me we have several higher dollar listings that are getting factored in here. So like my chart right here, you can see it. We've got like a $1.2 million listing on the market right now in Hamlin County. So that kind of skews your average number. But the average time on the market for those homes is 83 days. So we are seeing homes on the market a little bit longer. And like I said, a large part of that is because people don't want to understand and be realistic with where they're at today on the value of their home. So, but I will update those numbers for next week just to make sure that all the pendings got marked sold. I think 39 is probably going to end up being like 50 to 55. Awesome. Would be my guess. But all right, so that is it for the Morristown Market Report. We appreciate y'all watching, and we will have another episode next week at 2 o'clock.